has the Braille and all the designs you can see. I believe this side has some sort of flower wave type design. It's very intricate, and so you can feel the detailing and all that type of thing that went into it.
That's a World Championship bronze medal, and the journey to earn it involved food poisoning, quarantine, burnout, and a college freshman learning when pushing hard isn't always the answer. I'm Tonya Wallum with the Water Prairie Chronicles, and today Evan Wilkerson is sharing lessons about resilience that every parent needs to hear. Evan, I have to start with this. Can you show us that bronze medal from Singapore?
Of course.
How does it feel holding it inside your hand?
It's very heavy for a medal. This is definitely the heaviest medal I've ever gotten. You can tell a lot of time went into making these. It's very detailed. The Braille on them is very good. And the texture of all of the different designs and things was incredibly well done.
So now I saw a picture that you had posted on social media that it had Braille on it. What other tactile images are on there?
So it has the Braille, and then all the designs you can see are on there. So, I believe this side it's some sort of flower wave type design.
Yeah, that's how it looks.
It's very, very intricate. And so you can feel, it's hard to tell what it is at times, but you can feel the detailing and all that type of thing that went into it.
The last time we talked, you were heading to Paris. You had really high hopes. I've shared a lot on the platform here, but not everyone who's listening was part of that journey with us. So take me back to that moment. You were actually heading at the time that we talked, I think like the next day or a couple days later, you were heading to the training center. And you kind of walked us through that. And listeners, I'm going to link that so you can go back and listen to that if you'd like to kind of get the full picture of where we're going with this. But before the first competition, you ran into a roadblock. Tell us just briefly what happened after you got to Paris.
So before we were in Paris, we were in Germany. I love exploring international food. I think a lot of it tastes better than what we have here. And so I go out in a lot of ways. I got a little too adventurous. And when I got to Paris, I started to realize that may have been a mistake. We flew in on a Saturday, started feeling off on a Sunday. It wasn't great. I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm going to push through. Wednesday comes around, it's not better. I was like, I need to get this tested. I go down to Sportsmed. They test it. They tell me, yeah, you have E. coli. It's probably one of the worst cases we've ever seen. It's really bad. I'm not going to go into details, but needless to say, very bad. They quarantined me for about 2 days for the competition. Actually got out of quarantine 12 hours before my first swim. So that was very much not ideal. I hadn't touched water for 2 days, which if there's any swimmers out there, you guys know you want to keep moving before your big races. Otherwise, it's going to go pretty poorly. With E. coli, I also lost a lot of weight. I'm not a guy who has that much weight to lose as it is. So I went in feeling pretty weak. But the competition itself, all things considered, went very well. We had a 9th place finish in the 100-meter backstroke, which after having E. coli was just a miracle in and of itself.
Really?
I talked to one of my friends when I got back home, and she said, yeah, your first 50 looked great. The second 50, it looked like you were starting to drown a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that's basically what happened. So that was not ideal, but all things considered, what I had going on, pretty good. So Wednesday we had the 100 free. Dove in, my goggles fell off. Kind of painful. I think we had like an 11th or 12th place finish, even with that happening with E. coli. So that's still very well done on my part, and I think on the part of the coaching staff who helped me kind of get myself back into shape after losing all that weight. And then that night, of course, we had the 4x100 meter freestyle relay, and we placed 5th in that. The whole relay team did. We broke the American record.
Wow.
And then Saturday was butterfly. And butterfly isn't really my major thing. So I was like, I'm going to walk out here. I'm going to soak it all in. I'm going to enjoy the race. And then I'm going to get out knowing that, I gave this competition all I had. And this was what I basically built to get to for 8 years. And I somehow made it happen. And if I can make this happen, I think there's a lot that I can't do with just relentless effort and determination.
Yeah. Well, even for the relay team to have been that close, I had not remembered how the relay had finished. So you did well, considering everything that was there. You did well on all fronts, I think.
Oh yeah.
How did you reset mentally after Paris? Because you had spent 8 years getting ready for this. And then to have been hit by something out of your control like that had to be hard emotionally and just recovering. It's always emotional whenever you're trying to recover from something to begin with.
In hindsight, I've definitely made a mistake after Paris. Typically, when I have a problem like that, my solution is just to outwork the problem. If you can't beat it, figure out how to outwork it.
Right.
And so I took about a week and a half off after Paris. And after that week and a half, I jumped right back into full swing training. I did that for, I'm trying to think here, about 10 months after Paris. I had some good time drops, but I could really tell, okay, this was a mistake. I should have taken more of a break. I'm getting burnt out. This is getting really hard. But again, my solution, outwork the problem. Um, and that's what I kept doing all the way up until national championships of that June, when I really just completely crashed and burned. Like when I say I got to the meet and I was ready to be done with the meet, that's exactly what I mean. I showed up to the meet and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this meet to be over.
Oh, wow.
And that is not me. When I get to a meet, I am ready to go. I want to get in, swim fast, win heats. Um, Being ready to be done with the meet is not me at all. And that's kind of when I realized, okay, we have an issue that is going to take some time for me to figure out, and to figure out, what my future of swim is. And thankfully, after that meet, I was going to go to New Jersey anyway to train with my guide dog, which I think we'll talk more about later.
Yep.
But that was a much, much needed month break in my swim life. I think if I kept pushing through there, we would not have had the results we had world championships, just because the pure mental strain and burnout was occurring during that time.
You kind of hit a wall at that point, it sounds like, but yet you
Yes,
still qualified for the world competition.
I did. Yes.
Interesting. So pushing through wasn't, maybe psychologically wasn't the right stage to go through, but the training at
No,
least had you back up. So you wonder what would your times have been had you paced that differently coming in, and you're never going to know that.
no,
No,
it's one of the things you can't bother yourself thinking about.
no, and there's not a need to. Part of it is, these are stages of growing up too, and is
Absolutely.
is as hard as it is, we all have to go through those phases of learning, and it sounds like you've learned a lot through this. That's only going to serve you
Yeah.
well moving forward. So I was going to ask you what your lowest point was, but it sounds like you may have already shared where you hit that one.
Oh, yes. Um, Definitely that June.
So you're now in college, and let's see if I can say it right, because listeners, if you see the name of this, you'll know why I'm saying this. I want to say Ouachita. Am I right? Am I close?
Ouachita.
Ouachita. All right, I'm going to get it eventually. So you are at Ouachita, and you're training as a college freshman. So listeners, last time we talked, he was finishing up his senior year. He's now in college, and you started as a new freshman coming in on the swim team there. So did you start training right away?
I did. Actually, I never stopped. So I rolled straight from my club team in August right into training here. With the NCAA, we can't officially start training until the second week of school, but we can go in and open swim as long as we're not being
Right.
coached. And so that's what I did. I built my own workouts, was my own pace clock. Practicing like that is not fun, but there's a lot of not fun things we do for sports that you just have to put up with sometimes. Rolled right into training with the coaches here, and they were, both of them, Coach Dawson and Coach Logan. They were both amazing, getting me ready for Worlds, making sure I had what I needed, getting a good taper in, make sure I had a plan to adjust my sleep schedule, all of the 1,001 things you need to compete at a high level. basically on the other side of the world, because that's a huge time zone jump. It's a big climate jump, and you still want to be able to get in and go fast and feel good while you're doing it.
Have either of your coaches that you just mentioned or anyone on the team, have they ever worked with a blind swimmer before?
No, in some cases, I'm the first blind person they've ever met.
Okay.
Coach Dawson was on a swim team with Theron Drake, who is a blind swimmer, Paralympian, all that type of good stuff. Theron's just an amazing guy, and I think with him really helped out Coach Dawson a bit to kind of know what to expect and to kind of have that second voice, kind of showing him how to coach me, how to explain certain things to me, how tappers and sprinklers and all those wonderful things we use work.
Right.
And so he has been a huge help through this whole process.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if you've had to train them how to help you because you're using extra tools that are not your typical tools. So who is tapping you now during practices and all?
So we actually have work study students who we got to be tappers, and that's great. I don't have to pull from teammates to be tappers. That really shows if you have good coaches who can think outside the box, you're going to get a fantastic solution. And it has been great so far, because these guys can show up and tap during practice. They can tap during meets. This is how part of how they're getting scholarships for college. And so they're with very, very great guys who are doing it. And I appreciate them doing it a lot.
Are they good students to learn how to do this, or have you had any near misses to the wall with teaching them how?
They are both fantastic. One, of course, is slightly better than the other. You're going to have that with any sort of tapping.
Right.
But we haven't had any close calls being too close. So that has been a good thing. Running into the ball at full speed isn't too fun. So while I'm still teaching them a little bit, I'm like, if you have a question, go further out. Don't go, because if you go in, I could hit, and that is no fun at all.
No, and we can't afford an injury, especially when you first got there and are trying to get ready for a quick turnaround to head across the world. When you first got there, so training has started. You're in that second week now, where you've got your team training. You're trying to get ready for the World Championships. What did a typical day look like? You're also getting used to being in college.
So our practice schedule varies from day to day. Most of the time we have a morning practice, and then Tuesday, Thursday, we go to the weight room and lift. And then after whatever we have in the morning, we go to class. Typically, I'm cramming lunch somewhere in there. Finish up with classes or homework, depending on the day, at around 2. Run over to the pool to be at practice at 2:15. Depending on the day, be there anywhere from until 3:30 or closer to 4:30. Some days we'll do dry land workout practice. So that's, running, pull-ups, ab workouts, just body weight stuff. And then in the evening, have dinner, do homework, sleep, repeat. Some people find it exhausting. I think it's great because I can tell, I'm improving on the schedule. Even the week I was doing this whole schedule for Singapore, I was like, yeah, this is great, because this is exactly what I need. I'm getting in good yardage, a lot of sprints, getting in a lot of weights, a lot of workouts, really building up good muscle strength, muscle tone, all that type of stuff.
Excellent. Well, we're going to talk more about school in another part of this conversation, but I want to jump to Singapore now. Take me through race day. Now, your first race was your strongest stroke, right?
Race day was fantastic. Singapore did such an amazing job with this. That was just probably one of the best swim meets I've ever been to. The pool was nice. Where we were staying at the hotel was very nice. We had a very short bus trip to get there. It was only about 10 minutes compared to a lot of your international meets where it's, it can be up to an hour to go from where you're staying to the pool. And that's a really long time to be sitting on a bus.
Yeah.
But, I get up, I have breakfast, I get to the pool, I do my warm up. Big fan of music before I swim. So I sit down, listen to music for about an hour and a half, go change into my suit, warm up again. I go sit in the call room. walk out on pool deck, do my morning swim, which I knew I was probably going to make finals. So I wasn't intent on, really burning myself out in the morning. I kind of cruised that, did about a 104.2. So that's only about 0.2 add from a best time. I knew I was really going to have to turn up the heat a little bit if I wanted to make it on the podium. I was fourth in the morning, and I was like, I am not being fourth. That was my thought in the last 15 meters of my race at finals. They can drown me, but I'm not being fourth. And that night, I come back to the pool, basically repeat the whole routine. There's a lot more hype when you're walking out. They've got music pumping from the speakers. A lot of the times there'll be people with drums and other instruments up in the stands going crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's very loud. It's very intense. They're announcing your names one by one as you walk through like an arch. The whole experience is just designed to be like, oh yeah, it's race day. Let's go. Which for me, it works. That race was really good. I got in, I hit my first 50 pace. Of course, I didn't know that in the water, but it felt strong. In that second 50, I was like, okay, it's everything I have left because I'm not getting fourth. I really just pushed that last 50, hit the wall at a 103.05, end up
Wow.
taking bronze behind, I believe the country that won gold was Azerbaijan. And then there was a neutral para athlete who won silver. I believe he swims for Russia, but of course they're, currently banned. So they have
Okay.
to swim under a neutral flag. But that was just a great race, a great experience up on the podium. Even with bronze, you're still on the podium. You're still third in the world, and you can't
Yeah.
ask for a lot more than.
No. So I haven't asked you this. Are you on A team now?
No, actually still on B team, but we should be making the jump to A team here in the next year or so. With the training I'm doing now, the way that the times work, they're probably going to slow down slightly now that we're off the post Paralympic Games year, or will be in 2026. So the times will just a little bit slower, and that'll help me out because it's a little
Okay.
easier to make that jump
Right.
from B to.
Okay. And you're still swimming S12, right?
Correct. I got classed this year. They classed me as a 12. I'm more than likely going to get classed again next year, just because we're questioning that classification a little bit because my eye doctor and their classification staff disagree by a very large margin on how much I can see.
I was going to ask you too is you were talking about you weren't going to be fourth, but like how do you even monitor where you are? Because like in the race for back, you weren't anywhere near the guy that was fourth. So you have no idea where he is.
That was basically just my mantra to make sure I kept going fast because you don't want to be that guy who just got kicked off the podium.
Right, right.
And I was like, that's not going to be me. We're making this third place. And at that point, I don't know where he is. All I know is I need to go as fast as I possibly can to avoid that happening.
It was a great race to watch. It was really a lot of fun. We were yelling here. My father-in-law came over and we were all watching it together.
Oh, very nice.
So when you touched the wall and you realized that you'd won bronze, how did that feel? Can you describe it for us?
Oh my gosh, it was the best feeling ever. Um, I don't know if they showed it on the live stream, but you can see me. I like jumped out of the water and came down, and I like just pounded the water with my fist. I was just overjoyed. And I'm usually a pretty calm, collected guy. I was yelling my head off down there. I was like, finally, this is what
Did
I've been working for, and it's all paying off.
did you realize right away or did someone tell you? How did you find out?
My tapper told me about 5 seconds after I hit the wall.
And who was the first person that you called or texted after you got out of the pool?
Oh my gosh, to be honest, I don't even remember. I got out and had something like 50 something unread messages from probably as many people.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it was wild.
All right, so last question. This is a thought-provoking one for you. If you could go back and tell your sick self in Paris one thing, what would it be?
Take a break. Take a break
Mm.
after you're done. It's gonna set you up for more than likely a better year. You're gonna be happier. Um, your spring season is gonna be a lot better, and you're gonna be able to have a more consistent training before Worlds. And just while you're here, relax and enjoy the experience. Uh, you've pushed really hard to get here. This happened. It's unavoidable. Just relax and have fun because, if we push hard, we're still not going to do super fantastic. So use this to learn.
That bronze medal represents 8 years of work. But Evan's biggest lesson was learning when to rest. Remember that August break he mentioned for guide dog training? That month saved him from total burnout and set him up for Singapore success. Next week, we'll be talking about that guide dog experience, and Evan shares critical information every dog owner needs to know about working service dogs. What your dog does around a working guide dog can have serious, even dangerous consequences. This is part 1 of 3, so subscribe and hit the bell so you catch part 2 next week. Comment below if you've ever dealt with an out-of-control dog in public, and I'll see you next week.